Beach is closed. No swimming. By order of the Amity PD.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. The original idea for this was to film at the beach with the sea in camera. The sea is going to be behind the camera because if I don't do that, I'm going to be in silhouette. So this is a special one-off video. I feel very exposed doing this in public, so I don't think I'll be doing this very often. Very special one-off video about summer recommendations. So I live at the beach, so I'm literally 5-minute walk from the beach, so I thought it'd be nice to come down here. I've always lived in Portsmouth, so the beach is very special to me. I spent every day of my teenage years down here, but I'll just give you a quick view of the beach and the sea. But as I said, can't have that behind me because I'll be in silhouette. So this is a video of 10 recommended summer reading books. So how do you define that? Well, I'm going to define that in the sense of stories that don't have loads of complicated plot threads, stressful things to deal with while you're reading it, things that are difficult. Relatively light reads, some that are very light reads, quick reads as well, and things you can take on holiday, so don't stress you out, that kind of stuff. And I'm pretty sure all of them are speculative fiction, so they're either science fiction, horror, fantasy, or some blend of all of them, that kind of thing. So that's what I'm doing here, 10 recommended books for the summer with a light feel that you can take on holiday. So, grab me bag. Okay, and start with there's loads of people down here. It's bank holiday. I thought it'd be busier. I've come to the quieter part of the beach, but it's still quite busy. Okay, I'm going to start with the first book I read by Ursula K Le Guin, and I was immediately hooked. I think she's amazing. After I read this, I read The Left Hand of Darkness. But this is The Word for World is Forest. So this is a novella that was published in 1972 as part of the Hainish cycle. So if you do start reading her stuff, you'll notice that a lot of her stuff is set around a group of planets that are linked, but each book is a separate book, but the some of the races occur in various books and that kind of stuff. But this is a fantastic book that explores kind of themes of anti-colonialism, and there's an ecological kind of argument in there. The way there's a slavery is a theme in it, and there's like unrest, kind of revolutionary kind of feeling in it, but it's still quite a light read because the way she writes, it's not that intense. So. And it's very short, so again, a good one to take on holiday. But yeah, it's a fantastic book, and it immediately made me fall in love with her writing style. And I've read 5 of her books so far, and love all of them. So, Ursula K Le Guin, The Word for World is Forest. This one is from 2017, Edgar Cantero's Meddling Kids. This is a really fun read, this is. So it's slightly bigger, it's kind of like a chunky book, but it's really, really good. It's a very fast read. It was pitched, apparently Edgar Cantero pitched the idea of the book to his publisher as Enid Blyton meets H.P. Lovecraft. That kind of sums up what it is. These people in their mid-20s, I think they are, go back to a place to reopen a case they looked at when they were sort of teenage detectives, and it opens up a whole can of worms and opens up kind of like a portal into the underworld kind of thing. And it's a lot of fun, and definitely recommend it. Meddling Kids, Edgar Cantero. there's nowhere to put this down. I was going to put it down on the pebbles, but as I said, I'd be in silhouette, so I'm trying not to do that. This one is Adrian Tchaikovsky, Dogs of War. This is really, really good. He's brilliant. Everything I've read by him is fantastic, and I've got loads of other stuff to read by him as well. But this is a really nice read because it's not like a huge. He tends to write massive books, and this is quite a short one. So again, it's something you can take on holiday, and it's about these sort of robotic, semi-sentient dogs that are used for military purposes, and about one particular one called Rex, who is struggling with being absolutely 100% obedient when he feels like his instructions aren't very moral. So that's the kind of crux of the book. It's a really good book. And there's another one that I've got to read as well called Bearhead, which is like a sequel, or at least connected. I think it's a sequel, but it might be just connected. So Dogs of War, really, really good. And that's from 2017. This one probably needs no introduction. Everyone talks about it, but I thought it'd be really good to mention it because some people might be on the brink of reading it, or they hadn't got around to it yet, or hadn't thought about taking it on holiday. But it really is a lot of fun to read. It's very funny, it's very thrilling, and I think it's an ideal holiday read. The Martian by Andy Weir. So clearly lots and lots of people have read this, and like I said when I mentioned this before, I can't remember what I mentioned it in, but even if you've seen the film, you'll still love the book because it's quite different, because it's a different experience. It's not that different plot-wise, but it's a different experience because of the way he writes. He's got a really good way of writing, and it's very funny. And because Mark Watley, the main character, is portrayed in first person, so it's his own thoughts, you do get that humour coming through really well. So yeah, I really do recommend this. It's fantastic. This is a book that I don't see very often on BookTube. I see this guy mentioned a lot because he's quite correctly highly rated. Neil Gaiman. So he goes right back to when I first started reading Neil Gaiman, and I'm a big fan. But this is a book that is relatively recent because it came out in 2013. And it was quite nice when it came out. He visited Portsmouth, and they opened a road. They renamed a small road the title of this book, which is very awesome. So it's down there, it's down on the beach. It's a little way in, so it will take me about 15 minutes to walk there, but it's called The Ocean at the End of the Lane, and it is literally because the ocean is at the end of that lane, which is very cool. But he came down anyway, and he did a big talk at the Guildhall in the evening. So he did this sort of opening ceremony thing for opening the street, which is really nice. So I went to that, and then I went to this thing in the evening as well, which is really cool. And then I spoke to him at the end, and he signed some books, and he's a lovely guy. I talked to him about Ghastly Beyond Belief, which was really cool because he was like, "You've got that?" But Ocean at the End of the Lane, it's a really lovely book. It's quite short again, but long enough to be substantial in the sense of it's not a novel or anything, or novella, sorry. And this is a really nice light fantasy that kind of explores mourning and loss and reflects on age and regrets and those kind of things, but mixed in with that, it's a really nice, soft story about reminiscing about something that happened in the past. It's really nice. So The Ocean at the End of the Lane, really, really good story. I haven't read this in, since it came out. I read it when it came out, and so it's been a good 5 years, but I know it really stayed with me for quite a while. So a good, nice, light read with a lot of substance to it for holiday. This one I've mentioned before. I think this is the most recent one out of the list, but I think it's a really nice one because, one, I just never see it being talked about, but also it's got that kind of summary focus on nature and fauna, which I think works with a summer read, I think, as far as I can define it. Sue Burke's Semiosis. So a really, really good story about sentient plants and how these visitors to the planet think that the planet's got no life on it, and they don't realise that there is sentient life in the plant life, in the fauna, and they have to compete for dominance on this planet, and it's really good. It gets to a really good finale as well at the end, and it ends really well, and it's just a really good book. There's a sequel that I need to read, but yeah, this is such a good book, so I was blown away when I read that. That was one of the ones I just randomly found in a bookshop as well. I was just looking at shelves and I'd never heard it before, picked it up thinking it looked really good on the back, and I thought it was brilliant. This next one was featured in the first booktube video I did, which again is not a great video, but I always recommend this to people because I think it's such a brilliant book. It's a really good summer holiday kind of book, take on holiday, because it's so fast-paced, so thrilling. It's definitely a science fiction thriller rather than just a science fiction reflection on life. It's definitely a thriller. It's very fast and it's amazing. It's so brilliant. Dark Matter, Blake Crouch. Cannot recommend this enough. Definitely read this if you haven't read it. It's got the sort of concept is around parallel worlds, but you don't want to know too much because it's got this really, really cool beginning where you don't know what's going on, and the main character doesn't know what's going on, and it kind of develops as the plot develops. His knowledge of what's happening develops, and then he realizes that he's got to get home. But there's a real, genuinely nicely written love story at the heart of this as well. He wants to get back to his wife, and you can see how much Blake Crouch can relate to that kind of feeling in how well he writes that. So yeah, such a great book, Dark Matter, Blake Crouch. I've got my Shrinking Man t-shirt on today. It's cool. This is I've only got a few left, so this is really, really good book that, again, I don't hear people talk about it much. It's the first part of a long series of books. It's 13 novels plus 3 novels that are connected, that are kind of like a different part of it. And it's Jodie Taylor's Just One Damn Thing After Another. So there's a famous quote from somebody that says that history is just one damn thing after another, which is a quite funny quote. Somebody like Oscar Wilde or something. But her titles are quite funny titles anyway. But these are time travel books, and they're quite funny, fast-paced, sort of character-based time travel books. So this is based on the idea that Max is a budding historian. She wants to know more about history. She joins this University of St Mary's, and they have a very particular way of confirming and discovering more about history by going back in time and actually seeing the thing play out. And obviously things go wrong. She gets trapped. She finds things that she didn't expect. There are other relationship issues that happen during the books, but this is a really good introduction to the whole thing. So Just One Damn Thing After Another. You'll probably enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, and I think she's written really well. And I've read 7 of the books now, and we've got the 8th one to read now. She wrote 13 about Max, and then she's done another 3 books based on the concept of the books about the time police. So those have come out as well. So that's another recommendation. I'm really self-conscious now because I've just noticed people going, "Oh, what's he doing?" as they're walking past with their dogs. This is a very short book that I've recommended before in my short books video. All My Friends Are Superheroes by Andy Kaufman, or Andrew Kaufman, not Andy Kaufman the actor. Very, very short. I read this in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, when I was waiting for a doctor's appointment. And it's really, really good. It's funny, it's a bit quirky, it's quite deep as well, I think. And the idea is that the main character is made invisible by a rival, this kind of guy that he's married, he's just been married, and at a party her ex makes the main character invisible, and he's trying to become visible to his wife through the book. And there's lots of other references to different superhero traits and quirky superhero traits that aren't your normal superhero traits as well in the book. So that's really recommended. I love that book. I thought it was really good. And then the last one to finish is a Tom Holt book. So I don't really talk about Tom Holt much. This was a lot of fun. Snow White and the Seven Samurai. My bag's going. It's not much of a breeze, but clearly enough to get my bag sent off. Snow White and the Seven Samurai, Tom Holt. Really funny, very stupid, very silly, very crazy, very farcical. Basically some teenagers hack into fairyland via their computer and get embroiled in a massive, complicated mess that's happening that involves Snow White, the Queen, Frog Prince, Pinocchio, Three Blind Mice, Big Bad Wolf, all sorts of different people, the characters from different fairy stories. The Brothers Grimm are in it, loads and loads of people are in it, and they're all individually complicating this plot so that it becomes multi-layered and very silly and very funny. And if that sounds like your sort of thing, then read Snow White and the Seven Samurai. He's got a style about him, but I think sometimes his books go quiet for a bit, and there's a little passages or pages that aren't very funny, but this just keeps rattling along because it's so ridiculous. So yeah, if you like that sort of idea, Snow White and the Seven Samurai is worth reading. That's it. I got through it, and I'm still self-conscious. Now people have just started setting up right next to me, so I'm going to sign off. But enjoy your summer reading, and enjoy whatever holiday you get. And thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing if you have subscribed. Thanks for watching regardless. Thanks a lot. Bye.